Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of RE069, where I take old stories I've narrated before and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called There Is a Lot of Stones in Terra, written by HFY. A man stumbled through a barren field. His dirty hands flailed about. Bloodshot eyes stared fixedly at the sky. It was 3 a.m, but the sky was awash with light. A vast bombardment fleet on high geostationary had just run out of targets and began preparing to drop cleanup troops. It has been 4 weeks. 4 weeks since the combined fleet of 100 species blanketed Earth with kinetics in a joint effort to eradicate mankind. Only some people remained, maybe a few thousand, give or take. Of those who were left, most had gone insane. Who could watch their kind die and not lose it? Like this man, he snatched a stone from the ground. With a cry, he cast it towards the lights in the sky, as if he wanted to hit one of the myriad warships in orbit. The stone flew high, and for a few seconds later returned to the ground with a dull thud. No ship acknowledged the tiny man. His defiance went unnoticed. Humanity was on its knees. Our once mighty military has been broken and humbled. Our extraterrestrial colonies, the 9 jewels of Terra, reduced to cold graves for 1 billion souls. The enemy spared no one in their indignation. To them, we were abominations. A host of magically attuned species lived in harmony for centuries when humanity was discovered. A species not only without any kind of magical affinity, but also resistant to its effects. Their seers failed to read our futures. Their mind-benders failed to enslave us. To an ancient hegemony of wizard kings who mind-control entire species, this was an insult and a threat. Once hostilities began, it was clear that this would be a war unlike any other. We had a powerful army, a fleet to carry it around, and an economy to supply it. Our enemy was used to psychic warfare, battle mages killing warriors with a thought, mind-benders turning brothers in arms upon each other. Bioengineering beasts controlled with but a thought. All this trickery meant little in the battle with the armies of man. We had an edge in military technology, training, robust physiology, and innate soldier skill. The first engagements went well, and our generals were hopeful. A few months into the war, it became clear how outmatched we were. We faced an economy orders of magnitude larger than our own, plus a virtually unlimited supply of manpower. To make things worse, our enemies were not stupid either. Their war doctrine adapted. Their technology raced to match our own. Their tactics improved. 1 year later, we lost the first colony. It was then that we realized we simply could not win. Our enemies kept growing stronger, while our strength already spent. Supply lines were broken, reinforcements intercepted, and humanity found itself in a species-wide fight for survival. Some fled, most stayed, to fight like a cornered beast, using the last of its strength to pounce at the hunter, to savage its dogs, to roar. I still remember taking part in the pursuit of the celestial fleet of Ganar by the remnant Sapphire home fleet. The Ganar launched a surprise virus bomb attack that poisoned Sapphire's global ocean, killing hundreds of millions. The home fleet that failed to prevent the attack went after the enemy fleet and forced 3 times the human fleet's size. I was on the UTS Zenith, a strike cruiser, when it rammed the alien flagship supercarrier Star of Zoma. I was captain of the guard at the time. I remember leading my men, resplendent in their black warships, going to certain death, straight into the heart of the alien flagship. We butchered our way through thousands of elite Ganar warriors, all in an attempt to reach the arrogant ruler of the Ganar, the High King Klessa. Only a handful of my soldiers lived through that boarding action. Yet, it fills me with a grim resolve to know Klessa's shattered skull still sits on a shelf in the Emperor's vault. I remember when Emerald fell, the 3rd jewel of Terra. I was there on the main starport, watching the armies of more than 40 species make planetfall. The orbital bombardment was minimal. Alien scum wanted the garden world for themselves, and we made them pay for their folly in blood. It took a week of constant reinforcements before we were forced to retreat on civilian ships, leaving Emerald to its bloody fate. The paradise would soon be lost thanks to a plant-eater virus we released as we left. I admit, we had our own share of atrocities. When Ruby, our oldest colony, came under attack, its population voted to give up the fight. When the aliens' warships blotted out the sun, Ruby's home fleet was nowhere to be seen. Instead of defending the planet, Home Fleet Ruby used infiltrators to hack the invading aliens' fleet's warp relay. In a brief confusion that followed, Home Fleet Ruby slipped past the planetary blockade and went into hyperspace. As Ruby died in nucleonic flame, its fleet arrived next to the homeworld of Kor'al, one of the many races that stood against humanity. What occurred there, nobody knows. But no Kor'al has been seen ever since. Many sacrifices were made, but it couldn't change the end result. Inevitably, it came to the siege of Terra, humanity's last stand. Our orbital stations fell from the sky like mountains on fire. Our space lifts were brought down and collapsed into a sea. Nuclear fire reduced cities to rubble, flattened millennia of heritage, and turned entire populations to dust. Some were so overcome with hate and despair, they went mad and ran into the fields, throwing rocks and profanities at the blinking lights in the sky. They had to watch, but could do nothing. Who did not envy the escape into lunacy? Lunacy can sometimes provide a new perspective. Our war with the aliens taught us many strange things about the nature of the universe. One was clear from the start. Magic was not only real, but widespread. All species were innately magical, though most possessed only minimal ability. Another discovery: each alien race we fought worshipped some sort of divine leader, a mystical source of their magic. From what we learned, those ancient spirits truly exist and wield incomprehensible power. It's no surprise those mighty beings tend to rule the planet's inhabitants as self-declared gods. We learned of many gods from our enemies. Soon, we started asking, where is Terra's spirit? Humanity was so desperate, it'd go into a pact with the devil himself just to spit in the face of our enemies one last time. Our supreme leader, Emperor Dalian, became obsessed with the idea. While humanity's final battle raged around Luna, he spent his days and nights poring over moldy grimoires, reading from animal entrails and conversing with mediums. Through forgotten occults and hideous sacrifice, Dalian managed to stir a presence, a being shackled in the depths of our planet. The soul of Terra awakened and promptly took control of Dalian's body. Talking through his mouth, it introduced itself as the Black Sun. Can you imagine? It was just like us, bitter and hateful. It offered humanity a pact. It would grant us, a non-magical species, a portion of its own power, the blessing of Babylon. In exchange, we were to carry its fury into the stars, to murder every species we came across, and to execute their gods. Those were intense times. We accepted. Then we gave it our true names, sealing the pact forever. Later that day, another man, mad with grief, went into a field and screamed defiance at the sky. He spat and cursed at the invaders, waving his clenched fists. But when he threw a stone, one light disappeared in the sky. So he threw a second, and a moment later, another light was gone. And then the man smiled because he realized there are a lot more stones on Terra. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.